Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the June 19, 2007 Board of Selectmen Sewer Commissioners meeting. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Madam Chairman, all 5 selectmen are present, as is the interim town administrator, John Foster.
Before we get started this evening, it was brought to our attention that last week during the interviews for town administrator, we violated the open meeting law by having the official vote for the new town administrator in executive session. When it was brought to our attention, I contacted our town council and the district attorney's office, Mary Lee, who's the assistant district attorney who handles open meeting law violations, and I reported us. It was an error. We have a list here of reasons that you can go into executive session, and when we had looked at it, one of the issues is to conduct strategy sessions and preparations for negotiations, which is the reason we went into it. Not on this, but in the law itself, one of the reasons why you can't go into executive is to consider finalist for a job, which is a few more down, and I neglected to read that far. So we certainly didn't mean to keep anything out of the public. The interviews themselves were open to the public, and we had a very good turnout. And so this evening, what we want to do before any other business is to reaffirm our vote for the town administrator appointment and kind of reiterate what we talked about in executive session as far as the 3 candidates. If I could just start with the board, that all 3 candidates that we had, I felt that they were all very impressive, and that any one of them would have served this community very well. They each had different strengths. They were all very eager. They were all anxious to move here. They all spoke very highly of the town and the people that they had met here over the course of a couple of days of being around on their own, getting to know the town. And I think that we should probably go through, as far as each one of us, the way we had done it that evening, is you want to go through and talk about each one of the candidates and who you wanted. I think you started it, Bruce, if I'm not mistaken, that evening.
Oh, fine. I'd be happy to discuss what I was particularly interested in, and you know, now that we have made our decision, I don't really want to discuss why I didn't vote for the other 2 candidates. They were excellent candidates. Either one of them that were not selected could have easily done this job, given time. The skill set that I was particularly looking for, and I think we found, was a deep understanding of fiscal management within the Commonwealth. We had one gentleman from out of state. We had another gentleman that was a longtime manager of a community on the Cape. But this particular candidate, John McAuliffe, had deep experience in the fact that he worked for the Department of Revenue and was basically one of the community-type troubleshooters that would go out and try and help communities get on the right track fiscally, and we certainly, in my opinion, were in great need of that skill. He is very well versed in the Finance Committee's role, being one of the people who goes out and trains new finance committees, and we have a new finance committee, and I thought it was a tremendous opportunity for our new finance committee not only to ramp up as quickly as possible, but to really, in my mind, provide what's been lacking, and that is very valuable advice to become our real and true financial advisors to this community. And I haven't felt that we've had that in a long time. And I know the Board of Selectmen is going to need help in reintroducing ourselves back into the financial cycle, because we have been absent in that for so many years. So there are many things that I saw in this candidate that I thought were tremendously valuable to the town of Wareham, specifically because of the issues we face at this particular time. And it just seemed to me to be a perfect match with his skills. I also was very encouraged with his position on taking strong leadership and not just administering a system. And we certainly are going to need that, because very tough decisions and very tough discussions are going to be had. And I felt confident that this person had the skills, the abilities, and the wherewithal to conduct himself in a very professional manner while meeting very difficult and specific challenges that we're not going to turn away from. We're going to face, and we're going to deal with them. My last comment about what happened, clearly, we violated the open meeting law. There's no doubt of that. It was a mistake. It shouldn't have happened. There were comments made that I, as the senior member of the board, should have known better. That's true. That's exactly right. I should have known better, and I didn't. And I think that we have apologized, and I will personally apologize to the community. There was clearly no malintent here, no intent to hide anything from the public. I think it was an oversight on our part, and I just hope and pray that we're never in an opportunity again to have to hire a new town administrator so that we can say, well, we didn't make that mistake twice. So I think we move on and we do our best. We're fallible. The breaking news is Board of Selectmen are humans too, and we'll do our best to do our job and take full responsibility for our actions. That's it.
Well, just to add to that, Sunday was the third day of the interviews, and we had the 3 finalists in. I had gone on to explain to the dozen people sitting here that any of the 6 that we had, I myself would have felt comfortable with. However, there were 3 that really stood out to me. 2 made the final 3, 1 did not. But you know, when you sit and people are interviewing and they're nervous and they're trying to make an impression, one guy stood out, just like night and day. John McAuliffe is very energetic, very professional, and he's a finance man. And one of the things I said was, you know, and I remember the man's name sitting at candidates night complaining about numbers. And I said, well, you know, I'm not a finance guy, but I'll work on it as best I can. Well, guess what? We've got a real good finance guy coming here. This guy is, in my opinion, a top-notch man. Full of energy. What impressed me the most about him was sitting at an interview, he knew more about Wareham's town business than I did. And that's the truth, ladies and gentlemen. This guy is already in touch with what's going on here in this town. So I think you're going to be pleased with this guy. And that's what I expressed through the final 3 candidates trying to pick, and that's what I expressed to the dozen people sitting here Sunday.
Thank you. Jim?
Sorry, I'm used to going after Jim. I think that you've heard from 2 other members of the board about Mr. McAuliffe's skills. I will say that we rated and ranked. We looked at all 3 of the finalists. The young man from Florida had some terrific skills and experience, and someday he'll be a great town administrator. Unfortunately, I think we felt as a group, I can speak for the board, I know I felt that we needed somebody who could hit the ground running, and that this young man did not have the experience with Massachusetts general laws. He was the kind of person who I knew would probably work 80 hours a day, if there were 80 hours in a day, to try to get the job done and figure everything out. He's very energetic. His enthusiasm and energy and his experience in his community in Florida were a great training ground, but Wareham's issues were just probably a little bit too much in need of someone with experience in Massachusetts. The other gentleman also had some really great skills and had been in the Massachusetts community for a while. He could have equally stepped up to the job as Mr. McAuliffe.